Hello and welcome. Thank you for popping into my channel. If you are new here, please like and subscribe for me. If you find this content helpful, hit that notification bell so that you don't miss out on the next video. Comment below with anything that you need help with or topics you'd like me to cover, and check out my website consultingninja.tech to peruse the resources section I've put together there. With that out of the way, let's get straight to it. We're going to briefly look at this tool that is being displayed called codepen.io, and then we're going to look at how to find items in arrays with some string array and object array examples. So looking at codepen.io, a few differences from how it varies from W3 Schools. First of all, you only need a browser to do this, but you do have to sign up for an account with codepen.io and then verify your email. It is free to use, however. Once we're inside, we can see that it separates each piece of technology that you're using into its own separate window. So we have an HTML, a CSS, and a JavaScript window. And then it's also constantly running everything that's in these windows all put together and displaying the result underneath. You don't have to hit any run buttons. You just make a change and it will automatically make that update, run the code, and give you the result. So that's pretty cool. The other cool thing is that there is a console available. In the bottom left-hand corner, you can open up a console and use it to console.log some stuff. And then one of the other nice things is that it has error checking in your JavaScript section. So if you make an error, it will bring up a little exclamation point and tell you that there's a problem. So that's nice as well. You get that little error feedback. The other thing that's pretty cool about this is that it's constantly saving your pen for you. These are called pens. You can create them, you can save them, you can share them, you can copy someone else's and make changes to it. So it's a very useful tool with lots of functionality involved. And again, all you need is a browser and an account. So pretty cool stuff. I recommend you check this out. If you want to follow along, pause the video, set up the account now, it just takes a second, and then come back. All right, we're going to move right to finding items in arrays. I'm going to start with objects, but let me first say the three different ways that people find items in arrays. The first would be Array.findIndex. The next is Array.find. And the last is Array.indexOf. And these are all pretty similar, but there are some differences, and that's what I'm going to really get into right now. So the first example I'm going to give is using Array.findIndex. I'm going to use this on this object array, and we're going to put that here. And we're going to say const results is assigned object array.findIndex. And what findIndex takes is a function. Now you can define the function inline right inside of here as an inline function, fat arrow function, or you could define it in another file or here just in another variable like this. So we can just call that a function that takes an element and returns element.type equal to window. And then inside of findIndex, we can just put that function. And you can see that it takes that function, and basically what it's doing underneath the hood is running a for each using the function you pass in as the criteria. In our case, we took that object array and we're going through it one item at a time, and if the element.type, if the type of the object is equal to window, then we're returning it. And this always stops after the very first time it finds something. That is the case with all of the other find methods as well. All of these other find methods. And so it comes to here, it sees that it's not equal to window, so it goes here, and so we're at 0, then we're at 1, it returns true, and then returns that index. So pretty cool stuff. If we wanted to, and we frequently would need to in our jobs, do something now that we know where this is at, we have the index and we can easily create a new object by spreading out that other one. So you do object array and then pass in the index that you have, and then you just spread it out like this, dot, dot, dot. use that spread syntax to spread out that object into this new object. And then you can make any modifications here. If you needed to overwrite one of these properties with something else, then you just do a comma and then put whatever property you want to overwrite with the new value. And we could print this out. So let's do new object dot type, and it will print out roof. So now you have your updated object, and if you needed to insert it back into the array, well, you already have where it needs to go right in hand. So that's why it's my preferred way of finding things, because essentially it has both pieces of the information you're most likely to need when you're looking for an object in an array. You're probably going to want the object and also where it was living, so you can update the place where it was with the new updated object, and then save it to state. Let's look now at find. Find varies from findIndex in that it returns the actual object, not the index. So on the surface level, you would think that that would be a good thing, right? Maybe think it's easier that way. The problem is you can get your object faster, maybe less steps, or maybe you don't like the syntax of having to access the previous array like this. But the benefit of doing it the index way is that now we have that object. And let's go ahead and we can spread that out here and update. So we have a new object and we've saved some characters there. The problem is you probably need to do something else with this. So you update the object and then what? Well, if you don't know where it was at, you're going to have to turn around and do another find index just to get the index of where it was at, to then put it back in the array and save it to your state. So for that reason, I tend to not use find. I would just use find index, because then I can access essentially both pieces of information right away. So there is find, and the reason why, I'm kind of meh on that one. I don't tend to use that very much. The next way of finding things is indexOf. Now, indexOf, you're almost never going to use this on an object array, and the reason is that objects are complicated data types. So if you were to do a object array.indexOf, and this just takes this does not take a function as some sort of comparator. It takes the thing directly that you want to look for. In beginner mind, you would think that if you wanted to find this object, you could just copy and paste this in there, right? And let's say const results are equal to that. And you would think that that would find it. However, let's get rid of that dot type so that we can see our result. You'll see that it returns -1. It returns -1 because this is not the same object. These are two separate objects that just so happen to have the same properties and the same values, but objects are complicated data types, and in order to compare them directly, you'd need to be comparing the memory address of where all of that information is stored. And that is not what indexOf does. It's looking for it directly. So where this does work nice for us, though, is in a string array or any primitive array type. You can just do this indexOf and pass it a primitive value, such as this, and you'll see that it is easily able to find the index where that thing is at. And this works great with strings, it works great with numbers, it works great with Boolean values. If you have an array of true or falses and you need to know where the first occurrence of a true or false is at, it works great for that as well. So there are our three ways of finding items inside of an array, both a string and object. I hope that this video has been helpful to you. If it was, please like and subscribe. And as always, have a great day.